Okay. Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shah, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shah, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shah, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shah. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutation you Akim out there that's pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Got a lesson going into Esau, the so-called white man. You know, what Esau, the so-called white man, is doing, the international bankers is pushing Donald Trump to renege on that treaty, the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty that was established in 1987 by Mikhail Gorbachev, which then was the Soviet Union president, and Ronald Reagan. And we all know who Ronald Reagan was. Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. They had signed a treaty. And that's what Ronald Reagan is known for. Squashing the Cold War. And 3 or 4 years after they signed that treaty, the Soviet Union collapsed. So Ronald Reagan was given credit for quelling or defeating the Russians during the time of the Cold War, man. That's what he's most known for. But what these international bankers is doing, they are putting the thoughts in, actually it's Yahweh, putting the thoughts in Donald Trump's head due to international bankers, because they are puppets of Yahweh, white Yahweh Shah, to renege on that treaty that was signed in 1987 from the foresaid puppets. The puppet of Russia, which was Mikhail Gorbachev, which was the Soviet Union at the time, and the puppet of the United States government, which was Ronald Reagan. And that treaty was called the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. And the reason why they came up with that treaty, because the USSR, the Soviet Union, came up with an ICBM nuclear missile called the SS-20, which was a deadly nuclear missile at that time in that era. But since then, they have created hypersonic nuclear weapons called the Satan II, called the Demon. So they have nuclear weapons that can totally destroy America. Hold on for 1 minute, Akim. Bear with me. I got to answer the door because one of the Akim came that's going to do the late night show for us. So let's give me 2 seconds. I'm going to come right back. Salaki brothers, like I said, I had to let one of the Akim in. It's kind of cold out there, so I don't want to have the Akim out there sitting in the cold. But nevertheless, back to what I was saying, with this intermediate range nuclear treaty that was signed in 1987, these international bankers started with the Rothschilds is trying to get, they're not trying, whereas the Most High that's working on the international bankers' mind to have this puppet, their puppet Donald Trump, to renege. And you got Putin that's totally against that, saying where we have violated the treaty. So they're trying to say because for the Satan II and for the hypersonic nuclear missiles that Vladimir Putin has created, they're saying that they violated the treaty. But they want to know where did they violate the treaty at. So what's going on is they warning the United States government that if you do these things, you're going to spark another arms race. And this is going to be far more deadly than the arms race of the 80s, the 70s and the 80s. You see what I'm saying? Because we're dealing with hypersonic thermonuclear missiles right now, man. So that's an input on what I'm getting at with this lesson, because Donald Trump, through the international bankers, ultimately, the Most High is working on the mind of these international bankers to tell Donald Trump what to do, man. Ultimately, the Most High is directing the steps of these international bankers because they are puppets of the Lord. So I got a scripture, and this is the reason why the Most High, Yahweh, raised Esau back up. Because prior to the Renaissance, Esau was serving 1,000 years of slavery during the time of the Dark Ages. But in the late 1300s, early 1400s, the Most High rose Esau back up because he had a purpose. Esau was raised up and back in power, and he started being the devil, deceiving the nations, gathering the nations together for the war to end all wars, which is Armageddon. And I'm gonna get that, man. This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. It says, and when 1,000 years, you see, I'm gonna go up a little bit because what happened was, I'm explaining it. What happened was, during the time of the Dark Ages, the Negroes, Judah was in power. They ruled for 1,000 years in Europe. You know, they were ruling, and Esau was in subjection. They had that dark cloud cast upon them where they couldn't do what they wanted to do, man, which was to deceive the nations. They couldn't spread their wickedness. They was under subjection. They was literally slaves. So the Most High rose them back up for a purpose of destroying them. From to go out there and deceive the world. He put the spirit on them to make such weapons. But I'm going to get into that, man. So this is Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. It says, and when 1,000 years was expired, the 1,000 years came during the time of the Renaissance period, during the time of the late 1300s and the early 1400s. Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Who was Satan? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Because they are the physical counterparts of the fourth dimension, the spiritual demon in the fourth dimension, Satan. They are the sons of Satan, the physical counterparts. So they was loose from their prison. What was that prison? Being under subjection, being in servitude under the Negroes, the so-called Negroes at the time, man. That's why they call it the Dark Ages. So it says, verse 8, and shall go out to deceive the nations. How did Esau, the so-called white man, Edom, Amalek, deceive the nations, man? First and foremost, they became the Jews. They have stole the heritage. They have stole the heritage, and the so-called religion of the Israelites, man. And they took on their nationality. Also, how to deceive the nations was they put up the image that Yahweh and the son Yahweh Shah was so-called white men, but in all actuality they are so-called black men from the tribe of Judah. You see what I'm saying? So that's how they deceive the nations also with their philosophy, which is their democracy. You know, the rest of the bullshit that they got going on, this homosexuality, and this serving any gods you want to serve, man. That's how to deceive the nations. Some of the ways of how to deceive the nations. It says, which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to my Russia, to gather them together to battle, which is that ultimate battle, which is Armageddon, man. It says, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. Amen. Because in that time, in all these nations, it's going to be before Yahweh shall come back and crack them skies with the holy angels. These nations are going to be immersed in World War III, man, battling with each other. But when Yahweh shall come back to deliver the elect, to bring deliverance to the elect and death and destruction to Esau and the 2/3, they're going to stop their differences from fighting each other, and they're going to try to come up against Yahweh. Come against Yahweh Shah. But they're going to lose terribly, man. They're going to lose sorely. Why? Because, hey, man, you cannot, Esau with his toys cannot match Yahweh, Yahweh Shah, man, and the holy angels, man. You see what I'm saying? So the Most High rose up Esau to destroy him. And there's proof in the scriptures on that, man. This is Exodus chapter 9 verse 16. It says let me see. It says let me make sure. Yeah, it says, and in every deed for this cause have I raised thee up. The Most High rose you up for a purpose. That purpose was to destroy you. For all the violence you have committed against thy brethren, which was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, man. Also, all the atrocity you committed against the Latin tribes, man. The northern tribes. Ephraim on down to Issachar. You're going to pay for these things. So the Most High rose you up to destroy you, man. The very same way he rose up Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to destroy him. For doing the very same thing that Esau, you have done, afflicting his people. So you're going to pay for that, man. It says, back in, as I'm saying, Exodus chapter 9, verse 16, and in every deed, it's like, and in every deed, for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show indeed my power. And what's how the Most High, Yahweh, and the Son Yahweh Shah is going to show his power, first and foremost, through thermonuclear destruction. But before that, it's going to be the more how he's going to show his power by raising up his sons and giving them spiritual power. Also, thermonuclear destruction and them chariots, man, with Yahweh Shah and them laser beams. That's showing his power. Ultimately, man, you're going to be destroyed, man. I'm talking about you, Esau. And that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Because when the destruction comes, you're going to know that Yahweh, you're going to know that name Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shah, because it's going to be known that it was a supernatural force that did that, man. Especially when you see them chariots bust them clouds with them laser beams beaming up the elect. You understand what I'm saying? So the Most High Yahweh is raising you crackers up, have risen you crackers up to destroy you, man. And also, he has given you the nuclear technology. He has put the spirit and put the thoughts and the technology and the knowledge of how to build and split the atom in the minds of you scientists, you Nazi scientists that split the atom. And there's proof of that too, man, in the scriptures. Isaiah the 54th chapter, I'm going to get that real quick. In the 16th verse, because the Most High put the spirit on you Edomites, you so-called white men, your scientists, to create such weapons for your own demise. That's the very reason why the Most High spoken of in Exodus, the 9th chapter, the 16th verse, he raised you up he raised you up. He have given you the power, given you back the power seat for one reason, to fuck y'all up, man. That's right. To fuck y'all up and to enslave y'all for another 1,000 years. And after that hardcore slavery that you're going to serve, you're going to be rounded up and burnt in the fire, man. This is Isaiah, the 54th chapter, the 16th verse. Behold, I have created the smith. Now the smith, if you go back to the ancient world, you had locksmiths. In the ancient world, now going back to the ancient world, you had smiths that created weapons, man, and armor. So the modern day smith that created the weaponry of the ancient world, today terminology, they be called scientists. Behold, I have created, back in this Isaiah chapter 54 verse 16, behold, I have created the smith that blow off the coal and the fire. See, the ancient smiths, they was working in the sweat, in the heat, putting the swords in the fire, burning it, beating it with a hammer, and fashioning it how he wanted to be fashioned. But this day and time, especially during the time of the 50s and the 40s, during the time of the 40s, the Most High put the spirit on them scientists, them Nazi scientists, namely Robert Oppenheimer, Werner von Braun, Jack Parsons, to create such weapons of destruction for his purpose of destroying you Edomites. So what you did was the Most High put the spirit on you Edomites, you so-called white men, to create weapons that's going to destroy you. It's like you got a gun, you created a gun, and after you created the gun, you loaded it up with bullets and put it in your hand and pulled the trigger. That's exactly what's going to happen to you, man. It says, back in Isaiah, the 54th chapter, the 16th verse, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. What's that instrument? That instrument for his work? Them ICBM nuclear missiles. Because the Most High definitely put the spirit on them and sealed the instructions of them scientists while they were sleeping, the blueprint to split the atom and to create these missiles, man. And these missiles are definitely going to be used. Right now, Esau, the so-called white man, have used them twice. One time in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and also recently where them gutter rats that call themselves Israelis have nuked Yemen. Also, it was used in the time of Fukushima and that earthquake that took place over in Japan. That earthquake was created by them nuclear missiles being detonated under the sea, man. And that produced a tsunami and an earthquake that devastated that land. Why? Because they wanted the United States out of their country. But that's another lesson for another time. The Most High have risen you Edomites up to destroy you, man. That's the only reason why y'all came back into power, because of the wickedness of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi from their forefathers, and prophecy had to be fulfilled, so therefore they had to go into captivity. That was prophecy. But also to destroy you Edomites. And that's why I'm reading in Isaiah the 54th chapter, the 16th verse, that Esau brought forth an instrument for his work. Now, Robert Oppenheimer, there's a video out there surfacing on the internet, on the YouTube, that Robert Oppenheimer said he became the destroyer of worlds. How did he become the destroyer of worlds, the harbinger of death, the destroyer of worlds? Because they created that hydrogen bomb, man. Well, it was called an atomic bomb then they became the hydrogen bomb. Now it's thermonuclear destruction, thermonuclear bombs, man, that they have created. But for the purpose of destroying themselves, because the missiles shall be used because Yahweh Shah gonna put the spirit on them devils, their allies, and their enemies to shoot missiles off on America. Don't forget, the Most High works on the minds of these kings, man. The Most High works on the mind, because all of the international bankers, they are puppets of the Most High. It says, and I have created the waster to destroy. What is that waster? Them ICBM nuclear missiles. And they definitely going to destroy the foundations of America. You see what's going on is the Most High, Yahweh Shah, is putting the spirit on these international bankers to have these nations build more missiles, because Donald Trump is pulling out of this treaty, the Intermediate Range Nuclear Force Treaty, man. If I'm saying it correctly, it's the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty that was established in 1987 by Mikhail Gorbachev and Ronald Reagan. So the Most High is putting the spirit on Donald Trump, the international bankers that have Donald Trump pull out of that treaty to produce another arms race, a second arms race, more deadly than the one that was in the 70s and the 80s. And there's a video surfacing saying that when Vladimir Putin said that if they pull out of the treaty, then they're going to act accordingly. And he also was saying that if they pull out the treaty, it's going to produce another arms race. And that's exactly what Yahweh Shah want, man. Let them produce more international, rather intercontinental ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, if you will. All for their demise, man. You understand what I'm saying? All for the demise of Esau, the so-called white man, and his empire. We're at the end of the age of Esau, the so-called white man. Last scripture before I close it out. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. Who is his? Talking about Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shah? Namely Yahweh Shah. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows, which talk about them ICBM nuclear missiles, because what's going to happen is Yahweh is going to put the spirit on these international bankers or these kings to come up against America pursuant to Jeremiah the 50th chapter, the 9th verse. Where they're going to create a great assembly, where a assembly of great nations will come together to come up against America and its allies. Even Great Britain, France, and Germany going to come up against America, and they are part of NATO, which are the United States allies, man. But they themselves are going to come up against America, right along with Russia, China, Pakistan, India, Iran. You understand what I'm saying? These nations are going to assemble themselves to come up against America, man. Why? Because the Most High is going to put that spirit on them to do so. This is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp. Now they sharp because they're going to be laser guided. Also the spirit of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah is going to be upon the missiles to not break their ranks, to hit their targets, man. America is going to be destroyed. That's why the Most High rose Esau back up in the power seat to destroy him. It says, back in 2nd Ezra 16 and 13, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shoot are sharp and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the earth, and the ends of the world, from Russia, China, India, Pakistan, Iran, North Korea, to the western part of the earth, hitting America, devastating this land, right along with Israel being burnt up with America, but also Great Britain, France, and Germany going to shoot missiles off too. That's why it says in Isaiah, the 24th chapter, the 21st verse, the earth is going to reel to and fro like a drunkard. Why? Because all these missiles going to be shot back and forth off, man, and knock this earth off its axis, you know what I'm saying? And these are the plagues that the Most High is going to bring upon Esau, the so-called white man. It says, verse 14, behold, the plagues are sent, and them plagues are not only famine, race riots, pestilence, martial law, but it's also talking about the nuclear missiles pursuant to Zechariah the 14th chapter, the 12th verse, man. There's no getting around it. America's going to be destroyed. Esau, the so-called white man, your empire is coming to an abrupt end. Peon Edomites is going to be destroyed. And the first fruits of slaves is going to be the international bankers, because they're not going to be destroyed. Them old, decrepit, fucked up niggas, them crackers, they ain't going to be destroyed, man. Right along with their old, decrepit, fucked up, ugly women, they ain't going to be destroyed. They're going to be the first fruits of slaves, burying the dead, digging graves. You see what I'm saying? The empire of Esau, the age of Esau, or the eon of Esau, which is an age, is coming to an abrupt end. Esau's empire is coming to a close. You are about to be taken out of your rulership. Like it says in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, the 6 and 7, or 6 and 9, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is that which followeth, man. We're approaching the end of the age of Esau. And the Most High, Yahweh, and his son Yahweh Shah is raising up the sons of Israel. And it's happened right before your eyes, man. Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 14, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. And all them plagues are them nuclear missiles, man. They're going to come upon the earth and destroy the whole of America, the whole of Israel, but Israel's going to be built back up. Certain parts of Great Britain, certain parts of France, certain parts of Germany, certain parts of Russia and China is going to be destroyed, certain parts of Iran. And they all going to be built back up. Except America. America is going to be a desert. A place where desert creatures and foul fowls of the earth and desert creatures dwell here, man. Dragons and the rest of the foul beasts that's going to be over here, man. America is going to be a goddamn desert, and it's not going to be built up ever again. Those are the plagues that's going to be sent. The last verse. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out until it consume the foundations of the earth, man. And that fire that's going to be kindled is them thermonuclear missiles, man. That's going to be shot upon this earth, man. That's going to rock this earth like a drunkard. So with that, I hope you Akim was edified. And I'm going to give all praises once again to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Bakakwadash, and double honor to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Hey, shout out to you Akim out there. That's sincere, man. We almost out this bitch, man. Let's stay strong, man. We're at the end of 2018, a year of prophecy. What's going to happen in 2019, only the Lord knows, man. But there's going to be a whole lot of turmoil and a whole lot of, death and destruction. Because the Most High is going to start turning things up, man. Shalom, Akim.